Hey, Chris,
Hey, Rod.
got a question for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What do you know about the neuroscience behind grief? Like, how does it make the brain and how does it affect the brain? How does it make it work?
Oh, well, nothing. I know absolutely nothing about
All
that.
right.
But lucky enough, today we've got someone who does.
Hey, this is Rod.
And this is Chris.
We are Unqualified
And Unsupervised.
the show where two guys try to figure out life after loss with no experts, no scripts, just experience.
We're going to have the unfiltered conversations about hard topics that no one wants to talk about, but everyone should. Coming from a couple of guys who were forced to join a club we didn't want to join. So, Rod, tell me about your interesting week this week.
Oh my
Because I know
gosh.
it has to be, because it always is.
I have this really great story, and I've
boy.
waited purposely. I haven't told you about it.
Oh,
I worked a funeral the other day, and the lady that died had been a nurse,
okay.
and I've never seen this before. But these nurses that knew her got together. There were 5 or 6 of them, and they got into their nurses' outfits, and they had the capes. They had like the black capes that had a red lining.
Oh, okay.
And they had
So
their nurses.
the nurse superhero thing?
They had their nurse caps on, and they did this really wonderful tribute to her. They stood up towards the end of the ceremony, and they read some, I don't know if it was poetry or whatever. They had a reading, and they presented her with a white rose. They laid a rose on her casket, and then they lit a candle for her, and then they retired her number, yes. And it was the coolest thing because they asked any other nurses that were in the congregation to stand up, and these ladies did stand up. And
nice.
They read, Gail's number is now retired.
Oh,
Then they rang a bell.
Okay.
And they said Gail's number is retired. They read the number, and they did this 3 times. Now,
is there symbolism behind 3 times?
I don't know, but it was really moving. I'm in the back of the church, because it's towards the end of the ceremony. We're getting ready to go do our job, but it was very moving to me. I'd never seen anything like that,
Wow.
And it was just this wonderful moment in this service, that this number
from
was
people that
retired.
weren't family, which makes it even cooler.
Right. And thank you for your service to the profession. She had been a hospice nurse.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that took on this double meaning.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I'd never seen anything like that. It's just like, that was the coolest thing,
Yeah, I've seen in the fire service every once in a while, they'll retire the firefighter's number.
Oh, they do?
Every once in a while they do that too.
Right.
So.
Well, I've seen it in sailing at the end of the one service.
Yep.
There's a bell ring, a special combination that says they're like in port or whatever. I don't know what it is, but there's a special
Gotcha.
Significance to the certain sequence of the bell.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. In the fire service, instead of ringing bells, they'll have the final page.
Oh.
So everybody that's a firefighter puts their pager up as far as they can, super loud. And then the 911 dispatcher will send out a page and say, this is the final call for Rod Pump. Rest in peace.
Gosh.
We've got the watch from here. So everybody's pager goes off and you can hear it through the whole summit. And usually done at graveside. It's a very moving thing. Yeah, right now I'm kind of tearing up because I've been on it.
I don't know about you, but I'm on the edge there.
I've experienced that a couple of times.
But that is great. I'm glad they do it. I think we need to do that for hairdressers, though. I think we need
they're going to set off a hairdryer.
I don't know, just do the set up or something that could do it. But no, but
we'll come up with something for you, Rod.
The service was so neat at the end of it that they sent her off, that she was recognized for her years of service in such a wonderful, beautiful way, and that these women showed up for them. So it was really pretty cool.
That's great.
And the firefighters, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's great.
But what that makes me think about is, as just standing there, having those feelings and how it's making you feel, is like, what's the neuroscience behind that? Why does your brain do that? Why does it make you feel that way? Why does it make your body feel that way?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, we'll find out from our guest.
Yeah. So who is our guest?
Her name is Madaline, and I've known Madaline. Gosh, we've been friends 30 plus years, and I've seen her professionally, and also I cut her hair. So I have this long history with her.
Oh, very cool.
And she's very, very brilliant. And so I'm really looking forward to, technically picking her brain about
my brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So picking a brain about a brain.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, excellent.
In simple forms, yep, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Perfect. All right, then.
All right. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, Rod.
What an interesting day it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting day.
Yep. My friend Madaline is with us today.
Mm-hmm.
And as we discussed earlier, we're going to talk how the brain works and how grief affects the brain. Mm-hmm. And we've known each other for now, I've realized 40 plus years.
That's a long time.
That is a long time.
That's
I'm sure she's
almost a lifetime.
Got a couple of stories on me that we.
Oh, good! I can't wait to hear those.
Oh no! So anyway, but it is very interesting what happens to the brain from my own experience. What I'll just be honest. I mean, I've just been gone for 3 years now. Yep. I am just feeling like I have the energy to do things. Sure. My mind is ticking like before he died.
Oh yeah, no, I know because I had that after Janice too. I had the grief. It zapped all of my energy.
Yes,
all of my motivation, zapped everything. I got it back, and then about a year ago, the grief came back, zapped it all again.
So you started all over.
So I had to start all over and work through that again. And so I'm interested to know why that happened.
But you knew it in your head. In your head,
yeah,
you knew it. You knew you were different. Because I say that to people all the time. Since Jeff died, I know I'm different.
Yep.
And it's a thinking. It's an energy. Yep. It's all that. So,
but doing the shows helped me get back to me.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Good.
Good.
Well, Madaline, join us and jump into this conversation.
Yeah, don't let us keep talking.
We're going to start with first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, I'm kind of an odd person.
Perfect, because you've now met me and Rod, so we're odd.
Yes. I think you guys picked me because one of the things about me that's relevant is that I'm a retired clinical psychologist. I'm also a former statistician, so kind of had a foot in a number of different worlds. I am now retired, having worked in both rural and urban areas, and also teaching as well as doing clinical work, which is an interesting part of the job.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And my last 3 years, I worked exclusively inpatient and kind of burned myself out. So now I'm retired for several years, and that's kind of where I am.
How's that going for you? Are you liking it?
Oh, yeah. I love being retired. I like that I don't have to get up in the morning.
Right?
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Which explains the timing of this phone call. It was like nothing before 10 o'clock. Got it.
That's exactly right.
We can do that. And you still have your puppies? You still have your puppies?
Different puppies.
Yes.
Don't know. But yes, I have 2 of them.
They've always had puppies. There's always dogs.
Yes.
There's always dogs.
Oh, you got to have dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs are wonderful.
Yes. We have 2. We've had as many as 4 at a time, but 2 right now. And little dogs. One's a Shih Tzu Poodle mix, and the other is mostly Cavalier King.
Don't you say it?
I got to.
You're going to say. I know what you're going to say. Say it.
It's a Shih Tzu Poo. That's a lot of poo going on right there.
It's a Shih Tzu Poo.
People usually try to find a different way to combine those 2.
Poo shits?
But sometimes it's appropriate.
Poo shits. Sounds German.
It really does.
So anyway, yes, I have small furry dogs who are in fact sitting here on the bed next to me.
Oh, nice.
Neat. Cool. But I'm going to go back.
Yes.
When you said the statistician part, there's a story where you did that out of the country. I'm thinking Ghana or someplace like that. But you did. Where were you when you did the statistician part?
Okay, I was living in Las Vegas. So we were doing the work.
It's the same as Uganda.
Wow, yeah.
So
you know
close.
what, Rod? I'm going to buy you an atlas.
So close.
We were doing the work in Eniwetok.
Where?
Is in the Eniwetok. It's in the Marshall Islands.
Oh.
It was one of the 2 atolls used for atmospheric nuclear weapons testing. They wiped out Bikini.
Wow.
What we were doing in Eniwetok was cleaning it up so the people could return, and they did.
Oh, neat. There's an untold story.
No kidding. I
Yeah.
had no idea that it happened.
Yeah, and it was at the end of that. It was at the end of that project that I chucked statistics, which I had done for 10 years, and started all over again in psychology.
Wow. That's
a change.
really. But you also did a lot of adolescent work, if I recall.
Yeah, I saw it was something because I'm comfortable with adolescents and some folks aren't. I worked with a lot of adolescents, like when I was there in Mason City, and not quite so much when I was in the cities, just because of the way my practice was set up. I didn't see as many kids, as many teenagers. But then when I came up here to where I am now, I again worked with lots of adolescents, and I often worked with the adolescents inpatient. So
okay. Well,
it's because I'm comfortable with them.
I'm already gonna go down a rabbit hole here.
Oh boy.
Because one of our previous guests was also a psychologist for children.
Yeah.
So
a child clinical psychologist.
yes. Okay. So and that was a really interesting conversation. And the fact. So, is there a difference with adolescents and grief than like younger children? Like when you say adolescent, what's an age range for adolescent versus child? Like, what's the break point?
It kind of depends on where they are developmentally. So the youngest ones might be really preteens, like 10 or 11, although that's not common, but generally about 12 to 18 or 19.
So do the brains work different? Clearly they must, because of the hormones,
Right.
puberty, those kinds of things. So does that age range, how do they deal with grief differently than a smaller child?
Right. Like a 3 or 4 year old,
Yeah.
5, 6 year old.
Okay. For the adolescent, it's kind of a challenge sometimes because intellectually they understand death far better than a small child would. They understand it's permanent. It's not going to come. Nobody's going to come back to life, and they're not gone away on a trip. They're gone.
Grandpa died. Grandma died.
Yes, and they're gone.
Yes.
But they also don't have fully developed brains until their early 20s, and so
I'm still waiting.
Yeah, we know.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on.
not going to touch that line either.
No. Thank you for leaving. That's why I was asking about the age range of the adolescents.
Yes.
It's like I'm not quite sure I've cleared the hurdle yet. So okay.
Adolescents, it's like they have more intellectual understanding than they may be emotionally able to grasp. And so one of the things you need to know, and this might help if you, to put a context, for most of us, grief is a lot like depression. A lot of the same brain changes, a lot of the stuff you experience in grief, like the brain fog and the lack of motivation, that's all just exactly like depression. In adolescence, depression often comes out as anger and short-temperedness rather than low mood. So the same kind of thing will happen in grief. They'll be raging. They'll be trying really hard to find somebody's fault. Whose fault is it that this happened? Now, adults do the same thing, but adults at least realize it at some point that it doesn't make any sense because the answer is always nobody. There isn't anybody's fault. It just is.
Sure.
Right.
Even if you say, well, the doctors could have done more. Yeah, and it's nobody's fault that cancer happens. It just happens.
Right.
Okay.
Well, when Chris's wife died, you had how old were your boys, Chris?
That right in that range.
So did they exhibit anger then? I mean, because I'm thinking about your boys.
Oh yeah.
As an example.
Yeah. I'm sitting here listening, going, "Oh, I get it now," because they were very angry and lashed out quite a bit, and I didn't know why because wasn't normal for them.
Well, no, losing your mom isn't exactly normal either.
No, it is not. No, and watching that process happen over 4.5, almost 5 years.
Yeah. And for an adolescent, watching that, for adults, it's hard enough to watch somebody slowly go on you like that.
Right.
For an adolescent, it's even harder. It makes even less sense and they're even angrier because it's not supposed to not make sense.
Sure.
Say that again.
That makes sense, actually.
Say that again.
They're angrier that it doesn't make sense because it's not supposed to not make sense. Adolescence still thinks that somehow you can make sense out of everything.
Okay.
One of the traits of being adults is realizing sometimes things just don't make sense. But that pisses off adolescents.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's
I
what I
can
was
see
wondering.
that.
Like, Chris, like with your boys.
Yep.
But they eventually came out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're 27 and 23 now.
Right.
So, yeah, as far as I can tell, they worked through it anyway.
Right. So, what more about adolescence do we need to know? I mean, how do you guide an adolescent through that period, so that they come out at the other end understanding what happened? How do you walk them through that?
Same way you do most everything with adolescents, you just listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes just hear how they're feeling. Yeah, you're angry. You're angry that this doesn't make sense. Guess what? It doesn't make sense for me either. And I don't like that either. And I'm sad about it. You're angry about it.
Right.
So here we go.
So
it in fact does not make sense.
So are you working? So are you working more towards understanding or acceptance or both?
I don't know that those are two different things.
Okay. Interesting.
That things, when you lose somebody prematurely,
Mm-hmm.
you can't make sense out of it because we have this idea in our heads of, you're born and you grow up and you grow old, and then the old people die and the younger people, and it kind of goes, when it's kind of out of order, when you don't expect it, you can't, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. Well, no, but guess what? Most of life isn't the way it's supposed to be.
Sure. That's how it is.
So,
it's not the fairy tale.
Right. And so accepting means just both accepting a factual reality. Sometimes life isn't the way we thought it was going to be, and also accepting the fact that this loss is going to leave an empty place and you can't fill it.
Right. You can't fill it with food. You can't fill it with alcohol. You can't fill it with drugs. Because that's usually a route adolescents go. They look for that. There's got to be something that's got to fill this void. It could be they grow their hair long. They don't shave. They don't bathe. There's something that fills in that void. And
sometimes it's just being angry at everybody.
Trying
to find who to blame.
Wow.
And if I find the right person to blame, then it'll all be all right. Well, no, actually it won't.
Well, one of the things that's occurring to me as you're speaking with our other person, she made a distinction that children can't distinguish death, the loss of their pet.
There's no degree.
There's no degree
to
right?
death. Loss of their pet turtle, and the loss of their dad is just death.
But adolescents do make that this distinction.
Sure.
At least at the intellectual level.
Right.
Okay.
So they understand that it's a way bigger loss than losing your dog.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But they may not have all that much more capacity for coping with the intensity of the loss than the little kid did, because they're still developing. So many things go on in adolescence that have to happen. So much maturing of the body and the brain that when you throw something humongous into it, it's like the whole process gets disrupted.
You mean the death interrupts these processes, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it disrupts. It can even, I think, I'm not sure, and this is I'm speculating because I haven't seen it enough to know whether this happens. It could even do things like disrupt the physiological processes temporarily, mess up the hormones until they kind of get straightened back out again.
Oh, sure.
But for certain, the emotional maturing gets disrupted because instead of working on, disengaging from the family of origin and establishing yourself in a new peer-related social group, suddenly you've got this boulder in the way of that's not how you wanted to disengage from family, was to have them die. That wasn't how you wanted to do it. So it's like a ripping instead of the usual developmental process. And that's it's already a lot to manage. It just makes it a lot more to manage. So it just confuses things and slows things down for the adolescent.
So I'm gonna the thing that's occurring to me as you say this, I feel like there's gonna be isolation. Okay, because now this child is now part of a fraternity or sorority or whatever that a lot of their peers aren't a part of. So I imagine there's an isolation. They're going to feel different. Like I lost my mom. No one else, everybody else still has a mom. Now they're part of this little group,
Right. The club no one wanted to join.
the club that no one wanted to join. But does that cause them to isolate then?
It depends on the kid.
Okay.
Some kids will isolate. Some kids will throw themselves into the social milieu as a way to try to not notice that mom died.
They become
Some
a
people
super
may,
jock. They become the super
yeah,
jock. They're in all the sports,
or socializing and being out with friends and never being home. Or some kids may find other kids who've experienced loss. Um, Kids of divorce, particularly if one parent is absent,
right?
they might gravitate towards those kids because it's not exactly the same club, but it's a similar club.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's adjacent.
Well, and that's something I used to say too. I've had people who got divorced and would say to me, "Well, you had it way worse than I did." And I always say, "Well, number one, you can't compare because your worst thing is your worst thing.
Right.
Everybody's is different. And losing a spouse, I think, to divorce and to death is still losing a spouse. You didn't get married thinking, well, this is only going to last so long, and then
Yeah,
it's going to be gone. No matter how you lost your spouse, you lost them.
yeah. And so for the adolescent kid, they may gravitate towards other kids with that kind of a loss.
Sure, that makes sense.
Some kids may isolate. Kids, everybody does grief a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And even in adolescence, that's true. So some adolescents may, instead of doing the lashing out, turn into the parentified child thing. They may kind of try to take over and be the strong one in the family. So your adolescent kid is comforting you who lost your spouse. They lost their mom, but they're comforting you. So there's all that whole range of, isolate, deny, rage, take over. All of those are ways of dealing with it. And in adolescence, it's all going to be more exaggerated and wild just because they're teenagers full of hormones.
So Madaline, how does it, as a parent, and as a single parent at this point, how do you stay in contact with how do you stay in touch with this child? How do you walk them through them? How do you stay with them, and how do you keep the relationship, and how do you walk them through this grief? What are tips?
You talk and you listen. You talk about your grief, you listen to theirs, and keep your mouth shut while they're talking.
Well, that's that.
Good luck, Rod.
Oh, snap! Got it.
I'm a little snarky today. Sorry.
And you do active listening. In other words, when you hear them, you say it back. I'm hearing you say this, so they know you actually heard them.
They feel seen. They feel heard. At that point,
exactly.
They don't become invisible.
That's right. And you acknowledge the emotions, and acknowledge that their emotions and yours are probably pretty much the same because you both lost the same person.
Right.
Different relationship, but same person. Let me throw in an example here.
Sure.
Up where I live now, there are lots of Ojibwe folks. And there is a tradition among the Ojibwe that you do not weep about a death. Because if you do that, it keeps their soul from moving on. So what they do is talk a lot about the person, about the loss, about how they feel. So the kids talk, the adults talk, the adolescents talk. They just talk a lot
Wow.
about the person and their experience, and that works for them.
I would think that could work for a lot of people.
Right. Right.
That's my point. That's
Yeah.
my point. That culturally, you know, we tend to focus on the you should cry it out, but that's really kind of a cultural thing. That culture does not do the weeping part; they do the talking part, and that's what works. And I think that's what works for other people
Sure.
too. Talk and you listen.
Well, I think
Yeah.
people thought about that with Jeff. They thought if they talked about Jeff with me, that it might make me emotional. No, it actually did the opposite.
Mhm.
Thank you for talking about Jeff. Thank you for keeping him alive and keeping him present. He was a very important part of my life. Thank you for acknowledging his life.
Right.
I appreciate that. I don't know about you, Chris.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Same thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The more we talked, the better it was. And I like the fact with that example, because we've talked about on other shows that we did cry and we probably didn't cry enough. We probably should have cried more, but I like the fact that they're not crying because they're supposed to be, strong and stoic and you don't do that. They just do it in a different way.
Yes. It's not about stoicism. It's about cultural belief around the idea of weeping. And the don't cry enough. You got to knock off the shoulds. We should do it this way. Or we should do it that way. We should cry this much. There ain't no such thing. Everybody does it differently.
Well, people said that, like, oh, you didn't cry at your father's funeral. Well, okay, are you shooting on me? That was your expectation.
Are you shooting on me? I like that.
Well, yeah. We could have T-shirts, but
We could.
Yeah, but we should on people all the time.
We do.
And this person was a family member, and I said, but you weren't there at 2:00 in the morning when I was pre-grieving. I knew my father was dying. I knew the time was short. You weren't there. So don't judge me on that.
Right. I actually had somebody say the same thing to me. He's like, how did you? She's like, I couldn't believe you didn't let yourself cry during the funeral for Janice. I was like, I didn't not let myself. I just didn't, it was where I was at.
All right. I'm going to press pause because Madaline has to hear, because Madaline, one of the stories we did right away was the minister that did Chris's wife's funeral. and I love this story. You have to tell about what he did.
Okay.
How the minister, you've got to hear this story. It's such a cute story. I love this story.
The meows?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you have to know is Willie was a really close friend of Janice and I. And he's actually a very close friend in our friend group. He was a band director before he went into the ministry. His wife was a band director. I was a band, music ed degree. Anyway, he got up, and I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Super Troopers, but there's a running bit in that movie when they would pull somebody over. Instead of the word now, they would insert meow. So like, I would like to see your license and registration, right? Meow. And they'd try to see how many they could put into a stop and et cetera. Well, Willie put 9 of them in the church service, in the funeral, right? And I caught the first one and thought, no, he didn't. The second one comes up and I was like, oh my God, he's doing it. And by the third time, my face is in my hands. I'm bent over, laughing hysterically as quietly as I can, because I can't let anybody see me sitting in the front row laughing my ass off
at your wife's funeral,
because nobody else was catching them either.
Yeah.
Nobody else heard those until I told people, and they went back and watched the video. So I am losing my shit laughing. And so many people were just like, oh, you were bawling your eyes out. And I'm like, sure. Yep. That's what I was doing.
Did you say your mother was comforting you? She thought you were crying too?
Yeah. I was sitting next to my mom, and she was like putting her arm around me. And
oh my gosh.
It's so hard not to let her know I'm laughing.
I just love that story. But once again, it plays into people shouldn't should on you because you were handling grief. They weren't there in all the previous stuff.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're 5 years into this for me.
Let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Was it easier for you to get through that funeral laughing your guts out than it would have been if he hadn't thrown the meows in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, humor's always been a big part of my life, and I've laughed through a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't, especially when I was a firefighter. I laughed at a lot of dark things. We had a lot of dark humor, but that's how you got through it.
Did you guys ever watch the old Mary Tyler Moore show?
Oh,
Yes, yes.
Do you remember the show where the clown died?
Chuckles the clown. Yes, that's a famous.
Yes.
We love that. We're everybody's.
Mary ends up laughing her guts out through the funeral. I think that's kind of what that immediately reminded me of. And I thought there was something very true about that particular episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when the minister says something about the other character, and Chuckles would always like his whiz bang, and she loses it.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that is considered one of the most classic clips on TV.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Because it's so real.
Yes.
Yeah, I lived it.
Yeah.
Actually.
But there's this, okay, the should part of it. You should be sad. You should be crying. You shouldn't be having these emotions. It's like, we've talked about funerals and in the funeral home and laughter. And I think we're going to do a show about humor and death and all that. Because sometimes if you don't laugh, you'll cry, but the laughter gets you through it.
It does.
It also gets you unstuck.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, if you get stuck in the depressive part of the grief, you just dig the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. Because that's what depression does. Because at that point, it can actually turn into depression. And instead of being grieving, and now it's just depression. And the laughter gets you out of that rut and get you started seeing that, yes, you have this loss, but you also have, and you also have all of these memories of who that person was to you and what they did with you and the time they spent with you. And if you get stuck in the depression, that the depressive piece of it that sucks you clear into real depression, then you forget all those good things. And when you can laugh, suddenly it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. And suddenly you're remembering all the good things.
So Mike, with this, what's the distinction between depression and grief? Like what's the crossover? Like how do you know you've crossed over from grief to depression?
Okay. It's a fairly subtle thing and not easy even for a clinician to tell, but it's like you're not going anywhere.
You're stuck.
Grief, it's the stuckness. Yes. That grief, there is a process there. It's not the same for everybody, but it does change over time. How that change looks differs with different people. And as Chris noted earlier, that sometimes it can come back and whack you a long time later, and usually that's on some kind of an anniversary,
right?
Like an anniversary of something you did, or a time of year that you used to do things, or the anniversary of their death, or an anniversary of a birthday, or then it'll come back and whack you all over again. And that's okay, because then you are again in a process. You're moving somewhere. If it's just stuck and there's a sense of around and around and around and it's not going anywhere, that's my signal as a clinician that it's probably depression now, and we need to maybe throw some medication in there,
right,
and then get it back to just being grief.
Well, part of the things that we've talked about too in our initial show, we both talked about our own loss and death. But I guess maybe that question was more for you, Chris. Do in what she was describing, where did you see yourself in that? Because I know you had to.
I didn't see that. That was one of the problems, is I wasn't seeing that I was dropping back into depression again.
Right. Well, see, that's a piece that Madaline doesn't know, is like that first year that after Janice died, what your process was.
Oh yeah, it was to be the strong person for everybody else and help them through it. And I didn't, and I did nothing for me.
Bad idea.
Oh yeah, it was a horrible idea.
because you're so busy doing for them, you don't get to do your own process.
Right. And what happened?
I crashed hard. Once I kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, everybody's doing good, everything. And then all of a sudden, boom, I hit the wall and I wasn't anymore. And I had to get help. And I did.
Yep.
But again, I didn't see it then either until I had crashed hard. And the second time when it happened, it was actually having someone leave my life, just walk right out of it. And that emotional trauma finally made me go, oh God, now I see what she was talking about.
Right. Right.
And
So Madaline, when should someone seek help? What should they be like? How do they
what
know?
should they be looking for? Because I didn't see it myself.
Others
Did.
You can seek help right from the very beginning, because sometimes things like grief groups are really helpful in just walking through the process, because you're with somebody who gets it. You know, if you go to a grief group, or even do online interactions with support groups for grief, when you realize you're overwhelmed in whatever context, it's time to get the relevant help, which might be a support group, it might be a therapist. The whole medication thing for me would be only when the depression is clearly beyond just, one of the things you can't do as a therapist is any kind of talk therapy if the brain isn't present. And in deep depression, there's no brain.
Okay.
It's so locked in the depression that it just literally is slowed to the point of not working. So then we throw in some medication, which now gives your brain enough work that we can do therapy work. And that can be in many contexts. Grief is only one of them. But you get help when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Oh, okay.
And
that's the signal. Like I need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the trouble with being Mr. Strong is that you're going to keep on pretending you're not overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely. And I did that.
And remember that sometimes it's your adolescent kid who's trying to play that role. You were talking about the adolescents a while ago.
Right.
Sometimes the adolescent will do that, and then they'll crash.
Sure.
Because you always crash. The person really is gone. You really have lost them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you can pretend for a very long time, but you can't pretend forever.
Wow. That's
true.
Profound. Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
do you think we should talk about the neuroscience now?
We could a little bit.
This has been so good. It's like
we
can spend 3 minutes on neuroscience and then go back to the the other stuff.
Well, most of the neuroscience really is about the neuroscience of depression, because of the ways in which grief resembles depression. It does very similar things to your brain.
Okay. So what does it do to your brain?
Well, it slows everything down.
Stuck? You get stuck?
You get stuck.
Yep.
With depression, it magnifies uncomfortable things. Okay.
Oh,
now,
yes, it does.
Depression does that. Grief, you don't have to, because it's already there. There's no magnifying it. But it's like you get locked into the negative. In depression.
So you don't. You don't see the light of the day. Everything's dark. Your neighbor brings you food, but you can't see that as a positive thing.
You can't taste the food.
You can't taste the food, right?
It also does things like disrupt your sleep cycle, so that your energy level goes way down, which further messes up your brain's ability to think.
There's a domino effect to this.
Yes, very much. Very
okay.
Much. And messes. The depression also will often change appetite, so you aren't eating well because you don't want to eat. And again, grief can do those exact same things.
But can it go the other way? You overeat, and you basically go, fuck it, I'm going to eat that cake. I'm going to eat that ice cream. I mean, it tips the other way, right?
Depression doesn't do that typically, but grief can.
Oh.
Again, that's to fill the whole thing.
That explains the ice cream in Chris's refrigerator.
By the way, still there because I don't eat it.
Okay, all right.
Some people will overeat when depressed. Again, as an attempt to control it. More often, people will try to use booze or drugs to deal with the mood.
They want the pain to go away, and so they medicate through alcohol, drugs,
with food, sex.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. I could do this with sex. Like, no one told me that. That's a new option. It's like,
Well,
That one is
call
common.
me.
I'm glad you've got a new play in your book.
Here's my email.
Okay. That one is not nearly as common.
Oh, okay.
And
Clearly.
if someone goes that way, I would immediately start suspecting there might be an underlying bipolar disorder,
Oh,
because that's really common in bipolar disorder.
A sexual activity or over sexual.
Yeah.
Okay.
interesting.
Again, so if there's any underlying mental health issue, grief's going to trigger it. But most of the time, it looks mostly like depression.
Sure. Well, and I can tell you. Oh, I was just going to say, I could tell you when I finally crashed and I realized I'd crashed, I lost almost 30 pounds in 2 months without trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't like trying to lose weight. I was actually trying to bulk up. I was in the gym working out.
But that's also cancer.
Oh, well, thanks. I guess
I
didn't think about that.
Depression will do that.
Sorry.
It's really weird. And I don't know if this is scientifically accurate. But my observation, just clinically, is that the overeating is more likely in women. They lose 60 pounds in X amount of time is more common in men. But depression messes up your appetite either way.
Yep.
And grief can too.
Did you notice that with your appetite, Chris?
Well, that's when I finally figured out something was going on.
Right.
When I finally put on a pair of pants and my belt wouldn't hold my pants up, and I started having to put holes.
But did you realize your eating habits had changed?
That's when I realized, I'm like, holy crap, I've lost 30 pounds without trying.
Right. Okay.
Which I'm not eating.
Oh, okay.
That was the problem.
Okay.
And that's what kind of triggered me to finally go, I got an issue I need to figure out here.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't always take everybody quite that long to figure out that they got something to deal with.
Right. Well, for those of you who have not seen Chris, he's actually quite buff as shit, and it's really hard to sit across from the table from him a lot of times. But anyway, knowing this, he got it back. He got it back in spades. Yeah.
Well, that's the difference between grief and depression. Depression stays stuck. And if you still got enough brain left that we can do talk therapy, then we can get you unstuck. But if depression has taken hold, then my clinical experience was I needed to send you to the psychiatrist to get you on some, or your doc or whoever, to get you on some medication. So then I had enough brain to work with.
Right. Well, I think
grief will not by itself get you there. If you haven't been sucked into the full-blown depression, then grief continues to move, and it tends to come in waves. When you finally let yourself grieve, there'll be times when you're walking around numb, can't feel anything,
right,
and then suddenly it's like somebody hit you in the head with a 2x4. You see something, you smell something. Smells will knock you for a loop every time.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
There is actually a physiological reason for that.
Okay.
You want to hear it?
We do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Of all the senses, smell is the only one that does not go through a kind of processing center in the thalamus. All others, you go into your various sensory areas of the brain, and then it all comes to the thalamus, and then it goes out to the understanding what you just heard or saw or tasted or touched. Okay, so it's the process. It's like a central processing center, pre-processing center for all sensory input except smell. The olfactory bulb goes right straight to the amygdala, straight to the emotional center. So smells are never pre-processed. We react to them emotionally immediately.
Oh, wow.
It goes to the thalamus afterwards. It does eventually get there, but afterwards.
Wow.
So smells, a perfume, a cologne, for you, Rod, maybe something Jeff cooked.
Yes.
It just knocks us on our butt.
Yep. Lilacs.
So those smells.
Lilacs.
Janice's favorite. She loved lilacs.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So those things will trigger overwhelming emotion in the grief process, and that's fine. You just know that that happens. In any case, the grief continues to move. So even if you're numb and you get swamped, and then you're kind of numb again, and you get swamped, it's still moving. It's like it's not quite as numb. It's not quite as swamped.
Right.
I'm not quite as dark. I'm not quite as painful. I've started to remember nice things. I've started to be able to think about the person without falling apart totally, at least for the first 30 seconds.
Gratitude. People, I noticed that even with myself, like, oh, Rod, you should be thankful. You know what? I don't feel thankful right now. I know I will eventually, but I don't now. And that comes and goes. I also want to make a comment about the smell that might explain why somebody, they're in a crowd or whatever, and they smell like a perfume, like a Chanel number 5, and all of a sudden that reminds them of mom. And that would, in that moment, that would set them off, right? It could.
Oh yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Or
exactly how
that
smell works.
right. I just want to be
So
clear because I just thought that was interesting because,
Right.
like people like, I don't know why I'm reacting. Well, what happened to you? Well, I just smelled lilacs, geez, that took me back to this and that. And,
Right.
and like, yeah, the smell of certain kinds of food cooking. I for that matter, I don't look at coleslaw quite the same. There's a whole coleslaw story with Jeff, but no, but
Okay.
it's cute. It's cute.
Mm.
I came home one day. He was cooking, and I walked in the kitchen, and he had the biggest bowl we had, and it was just mounded full of like shredded cabbage. And he just looked. He goes, "I can't cook for 2." I mean, we ate coleslaw for a week. I mean, it was just so cute. It was the funniest thing. And so anyway, it's those kinds of things. Like when I see coleslaw, it takes me back to that memory.
Sure.
And there's the
exactly.
smell, all that
Sure.
stuff. Yeah.
Do you find that you don't know for sure what reaction you're going to have when you have the smell? Because when I walk past a lilac, sometimes I have a good, fun memory, and sometimes it's not. And I never know what it's going to be when I smell that.
It's totally raw, unprocessed, so it's kind of random.
Sure. So,
Because if it went to the thalamus first, you'd have a chance to sort it out and then figure out what you were going to feel. But nope, with smells, you're just going to feel what you feel, and it might be, what the difference might be, whatever else you were thinking about, or the context, or whatever. But it's unprocessed, so it's just going
sure.
to be whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, and I've gotten to the point now where it used to be I hated walking past them because I didn't know what was going to happen. And now I like doing it because I don't know what's going to happen.
So you've switched.
Yeah.
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 And that's the process. You have now reached a process where you know that even if it's a not so fun thing, now you know you can handle it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's how you've moved in the process.
But that comes with time.
Yeah.
That comes with time and walking through it. The surest way to guarantee that you'll never get through the process is to shut it down completely.
Like just just park everything in the back and not deal with it.
That's right. Because what will happen is that at some point in the future, and it might be 40 years later, it'll break.
Well,
and now you're suddenly okay. I've actually had clients that had this happen with clients where somebody walks in and they're completely overwhelmed with grief at a loss from 30 years ago.
Wow. But something triggered it, and they came to you. And I'll also say from my own experience with this, yes, in the beginning it's rough, but I've noticed through time by walking through it and experiencing it and not being afraid of the emotions, it's gotten softer. I still have the triggers. They're not as frequent, but they're softer. Right. I don't react quite so. I don't say violently, but I don't. My reaction isn't quite so strong.
Right.
And that's as clear a description of the process as I've ever heard.
Wow, look at you go.
Who knew?
Thank you. And if you shut it down, often it will be people who've shut it down. They thought they needed to do it to survive, like a single mom with 3 small kids or something like that. Or it's one of those mixed bag things where it was somebody you loved and hated both. And so you just couldn't deal with it, so you didn't.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
And then when I've had it happen, it's generally with somebody who's older. And often what triggered it seemed to be the loss of somebody else, like a friend died or something like that. and then suddenly it's there again, and now they can't hold it back, and they're right back. They're right where they would have been if they'd let it happen in the first place.
So the intensity, the length of time between it doesn't change the intensity.
Nope.
It's almost like it happened yesterday.
Exactly.
So the 30
Yes.
or 40-year gap doesn't make a difference in the intensity of the emotion.
No.
Okay.
Yep, that makes sense because that's kind of what happened to me. It was
Right.
probably 4 years from the first crash, and I worked through it till it started happening again, and it was all the same, just starting over.
Wow.
I'm guessing that it was a little shorter the second time around.
It was. It
That
was.
you figured out enough about how to do it that when you hit the second crash, okay, now I know how to do this, and you can get through it. And something may whack you again further down the
Right.
road.
Yep.
Damn it.
I know.
Way to go. Way to go. Now that's something to look forward to, right,
Yeah,
Chris?
exactly. Exactly.
Great.
Well, and the other thing I figured out the second time was don't hesitate to call the therapist.
Yep.
Don't wait and see if it's going to get better because it's not.
Get help right away.
I called right away when I realized it.
Yeah, you figure some things out. So when it hits you again,
Right.
I was like, okay, I've got some skills now. I figured out some of this stuff. Odd things will trigger it. Are your kids married yet?
They are not.
Their weddings may be interesting for you
Yeah, I've thought about that.
because, again, they're acquiring a spouse and they could lose that spouse.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hadn't thought about that. That's surreal.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah, and so that can be a long ways down the road,
Right.
and if heaven forbid some of their spouse gets cancer, there it comes again.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yep.
You had to relive
Absolutely.
it.
Again, when it happens each time, it's not as overwhelming because you have skills, so you get through it quicker.
Sure.
So, Madaline, we're going to have to wrap this up. Is there anything that you want to leave us with? Any words of wisdom? I mean, this has been so wonderful.
Oh,
I mean,
fascinating.
yes, and I'm going to say it because I always do. This is probably not the only time we're going to interview you. We will absolutely have to have you back on. But is there anything that you want to leave everybody thinking today? Like, what's your best advice?
Just let the grief happen, and don't assume it's going to take any particular form. It's different for everybody.
And time, because it takes time.
Yes, it's a process, not an event.
It's not linear. It comes in waves. Like you said earlier, it comes in waves. And feel your feelings.
It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's okay to not to be okay. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Madaline, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This was great.
Okay.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon.
Well, that was interesting.
Oh, man. That did not go the direction I thought it would.
We might have to redo the intro.
We'll let it ride. I mean, yeah, it was not very sciencey, but I mean, it kind of was. But
the distinction between grief and depression. That's
right.
That's huge. You know how they're interconnected like that.
Right, and trying to make sure that you can see it when it's in yourself.
Right.
Or at least be able to listen to other people when they're starting to tell you things that don't line up with who you are and what you are.
It's the being stuck. And I think before we went on, we recorded this. I think we both said we were in a place right now where we have this really good energy, like we've worked through these things. Because I said, after Jeff's been gone 3 years, I'm now just getting to that place where I feel like my thinking is clearer. I have more energy to like go through things and get things done. And so that tells me that I'm working through my grief and that I'm not in depression.
Right. Is
that what you got?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I'm at too. I mean, I was last year up until about September, end of August into September,
right?
When it really crashed again. And
right.
And now I'm unstuck again.
Right. Well,
and I'm moving forward and I'm back to me and who I am.
Yep. And I'm feeling less stuck.
Yeah.
Right now.
Too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I feel motivated to get some things done and move on.
Yep.
So
yep.
But what was the other thing?
Oh, don't should on me. I love that.
Yeah, that's
Don't
good.
you tell me what I should or shouldn't be feeling, or how long this should or shouldn't take, or
Right.
what I should or shouldn't be doing. You know,
So don't be a shooter.
don't be a shooter. Oh, I like that even better.
Let's see to get the t-shirts on that one.
Oh boy, yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
But no, that took a completely different path. I loved all the information.
Oh, it was fascinating.
so-
I mean, she's such a smart woman and experienced.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah. So we will definitely.
As grief
have
always
her.
is for us.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah, if you could make grief fun, we did. I think we nailed it today.
I think so. I think so. But as we finish here, don't miss us next week. It's going to be another great show. And please keep letting us know how you're feeling, what you're thinking about. Hitting us up, Chris, at forwardwellness4caregivers.com. Send those emails into us and give us your ideas and thoughts and feelings. And we will see you next week.
Hey, Chris, I think we had another good show tonight. I think we nailed it. I think we got knocked it right out of the park.
Yeah, Rod, this is our circus and we are our monkeys.
This is so true. I'm really looking forward to the next show. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I am too, and I thought you were figuring that out, so I guess maybe I'll help you with that.
Let's talk about that. Absolutely. But I'm really looking forward to whatever we talk about. It will be hopefully it'll be helpful. And
it'll be fun.
It will be fun.
So
yes,
as
fun as grief can be.
Exactly. So do not miss next week.
No.